Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to do another video about the Marvels, because somebody's got to talk about this movie, right?
Well, it's funny because, this is misleading. They said that the pre-sale placed it lower than two of the DCU's biggest box office bombs. Not exact. Well, it depends where you're looking at the estimates. It's not exactly accurate unless it comes in really low, and then it's accurate.
We'll talk about it, because regardless...
It's going to be about the same level.
Yeah, the Marvels is not looking to be a very big hit. It's not going to be 100 million plus box office. It's probably not going to do what Ant-Man did, and that's not a good sign, because we're going to have the Disney Marvel faithful turnout opening weekend, and then it's probably going to drop off a cliff.
Even towards the 70 million estimate that they keep sticking with, yeah, Eternals did better than that. And we all know how Eternals went.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Go out to shopclownfish.com. Please back Shadowbinders Volume 3, hardcover graphic novel. First new Shadowbinders content in like 10 years. The book is half done with webcomics versions of Shadowbinders, and then we've got the new material.
Which I'm very excited about, because it's really cool.
We're getting there, and I'm
very
glad,
proud of it.
I'm glad to be able to draw a comic like an actual comic and not crank out webcomic pages, because that just does not work.
It
does
sucks.
Not work. Its schedule sucks. So volumes 1 and 2, we have a very limited supply of these. We've done like 2 batches of books, and we're almost out.
Or the hardcovers. We had batches of books before the hardcovers.
Yes.
Anyway, so let's get to the important stuff.
The important stuff is talking about the Marvels. The Marvels ticket pre-sales place it lower than 2 of DC's biggest box office bombs.
Yes and no. That's okay. So if we go down to it, they're talking about the movie coming out. Now, we know that the range that they keep putting it into is like, now we've seen people say as low as like, what were you saying, like 45?
That's like a worst case scenario.
Yeah,
45,
but most places are like saying between like 50 and 80 or something like that, or 55 and 80. So there you go by 70. If it hits 70 million, it's going to be beat by Eternals, which was 71.2 million. But it's not behind DC's biggest bombs. Black Adam and the Flash. Black Adam only did 67 million, and the Flash did 55 million. It could very well end up beneath them. But we don't know that yet. It could do way better. It could do way worse. I mean, but if they're going by the 70 million estimate, those are obviously lower numbers. It's a thing called math.
This is determined by pre-sales. They're looking at the pre-sales. Pre-sales are not good.
Right.
So, yeah, they said
that's what all these numbers are determined by.
Yeah, they said it's expected to be one of the franchise's lowest box office openings. And the pre-sales place the MCU sequel lower than 2 of the DC Extended Universe's biggest bombs. Again, we're not talking dollars necessarily. We're talking pre-sales. And we also have to figure inflation, too. So that's a whole nother,
Yeah, but most of these were just a couple years ago. It's not enough inflation to make a difference. It's not like when they tried to say that the Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny was not the worst performing, the next worst performing, but when you figure inflation, and it was like massively underperformed compared to every other movie.
It's like, it made more money than the Indiana Jones movies in the 1980s.
Yeah, but when you compare for inflation, they mostly were over $1 billion in today's money.
Yes, they were huge successes.
This is like, oh my God, I can't even.
Back when the average matinee ticket was like $1.50, $2, I remember. Like early 80s, you go to a matinee for just a couple dollars.
It's like saying the athlete from 2023 runs faster than the athlete from 1980. I mean, when they're running at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Yeah. With less than a week remaining until release, Deadline revealed new ticket pre-sales numbers for the Marvels. The MCU sequel is currently tracking for around 70 million in its opening weekend.
That varies.
Not only behind the franchise's worst reviewed movie, Eternals, which opened to 71.2 million, but also behind 2 of the DCEU's biggest bombs, Black Adam and the Flash. Now, they didn't mention Shazam, too.
But beyond that, though, what's funny to me, the person wrote this. We're using 70 million as the amount.
Yeah.
And then they say Eternals is 71.2, but that's behind these movies, too. And I'm like, last time I checked, there's like a little Pac-Man eats the bigger number. 70 million is bigger than 67 million. And 70 million is bigger than 55 million. Now, I don't think it's going to do 70 million. That being said, in terms of this article, 70 million is bigger than 67 or 55, dude.
Yeah,
Sorry,
they're strictly talking pre-sale. So I think they're trying to.
But even then, 70 million, they're tracking for.
Yes. 70 million would put around Eternals. But that's still, for a Marvel movie, that's bad.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it as low as 45 million. Yeah. We've seen it as high as 90
That's
million.
catastrophic. If they do, because Ant-Man and the Wasp got slammed and it's still open to like, what, 100 million or something?
I don't know, they talk about that. No, well, yeah, they mentioned it here. I don't remember how much they said. Just overall, it did 476.1 for the whole theatrical run.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's just funny to me. I mean, it is, I've never seen estimates so stretched out before.
I think that the thing is nobody knows how this one's actually going to do.
It could do worse than everybody thinks. It could do better than everybody thinks. Well, we don't know.
Are they trying? Okay, so is this like a psychological thing? Are they trying to prepare people for the worst case scenario so the next to worst isn't that bad? Like
it's a win.
It did 70.1 million. That's twice as much as the worst case scenario.
Right, like when they did with the Wish movie. Oh, yeah. It's going to do better than Encanto and Strange World. But when you apples to apples, it's like that's not even apples to apples.
Blue Beetle. Oh, it wasn't a bomb, guys. Blue Beetle, even though it was a $200 million movie, it wasn't a bomb because some people said it was only going to do 17 or 18 million, and it did like 23 million. So it's a huge win.
It's a win.
It's a huge win.
I think it's funny to me. What I think they're doing is it's 45 million to 80 or 90 million because it's a huge range. They can say, I was right. It was in that range.
It's a number between 1 and 100.
Yeah, there you go. Somewhere in there. And when it happens, we were right.
The worst case scenario is it might make $0. The best case scenario is it might make $1 billion. I am confident in predicting that the Marvels will make between $0 and $1 billion on opening weekend.
I don't get one. I say zero and 500 million at the very, very most globally.
Oh, but, God. I don't think it's going to do that.
I don't think that. I'm just trying to give it a little bit of an extra estimate. I don't know how else it's going to do. My money's on the lower end, but even if you stick it in the middle, okay, even if you go from the lowest to the highest, the middle would be like 65, 70. So somewhere in that range.
And that's for a Marvel, for any other studio, that would be like, hey, that's pretty good. But for a Marvel movie costing reportedly $300 million because of reshoots, that's not good. That's not good at all. And basically Disney Plus has been advertising for this movie because it ties into like 3 other shows.
They've been putting the shows on and Freeform and stuff like that, trying to get people interested. They have been, promoting this all over the place. They even tried to bring the Avengers film with Thanos into the commercials to try to get people to come. They're teasing a possible X-Men tie-in with, the after scenes or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The mid-credit rolls or whatever. They're
like the least liked original X-Men movie, by the way.
I'm just like, they're trying everything they can to save this movie. And it's funny to me. I'm just like, but then like you have the Mary Sue and guys, it's probably going to fail because, they aren't advertising it much. Like how they aren't, it's going to not do well because of the strikes and they can't promote it. Does anybody even give a shit when they go out and promote it? Honestly, you see the junkets and you see them doing interviews. You might read a couple interviews on comicbook.com or something. They have an interview with the actors, but most of the time you're not seeing this. It's not really out there that much. It's not like everybody's watching it and it influences your choice to go to the movie or not. I'm like, and honestly, when Brie Larson opens her mouth, it usually goes the other way.
Yeah, usually that's it, because it actually would help them, because she actually helped damage it last time.
Right. And Rachel Zegler is like on a mission to outdo Brie Larson. She's like, hold my beer, Brie, and she's been outdoing her every chance she gets.
So they said that regardless, they said the movie's net budget of $219 million. I've heard closer to $3 million. And that was after
you have to figure marketing
after receiving a subsidy. Yeah.
Okay, so that probably was after receiving a subsidy.
Yeah,
because they keep doing this. They keep filming in certain locations where the governments will give them money back.
Georgia, after they had such a fit about filming in Georgia, now they all film in Georgia.
Yeah,
we're just gonna start filming all the MCU movies in Disneyland just to save some money. That's why we build the Avengers campus, so we always have a set.
There you go.
That's what we're gonna do. But they said, They said strong critical reviews or positive word of mouth. They have an embargo on it until the day before it comes out.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's embargoed. So that's not going to help. If they knew they had a winner, I'm just telling you, if they knew they had a winner, they would let people talk about the movie weeks leading up to it to get those pre-sale numbers up. That's what these studios do. You can usually tell how good or bad the movie is by whether or not they're willing to let the reviews out there. And if they're holding those reviews until the very, very last minute, that means people have seen it and they're not impressed.
And let me remind you again too that this movie is getting IMAX. It's going up against the Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. Honestly, people are going to go see Marvel's over Hunger Games most likely. It doesn't have that much competition. Yeah, Wish isn't coming out till way after that. Well, Songbird and Snakes isn't coming out till a week after them either.
Yeah.
And they're all coming out later. And they're not going to have any competition till then because, other than Five Nights at Freddy's, nothing's really doing well at the theater right now. Mm-mm. So they're not going to have much competition. And if they still fail, that just tells you everything you need to know. Don't tell me it's because men hate women. Bullshit.
Well, men do hate women.
And I'm just like, we're going to have another video about that later. And it's like, people don't want to see the Marvels. They don't want to see a movie about, kitties. I like them to see movies about kitties too, but not like with Brie Larson.
Well, that's what this movie's being marketed to cat ladies.
I'm a cat lady and I still don't want to see it. I have 4 kitties. I got Okie, which is real Okie. I got Jasmine. I got Mew Mew. Well, it's actually Wade King's cat. And we got, who am I
the other one.
Ozzy. Oswald. Ozzy.
How can you forget Ozzy? No, because he's a dog.
He does think he's a dog.
He's a dog.
I'm not kidding. He legitimately thinks
he hangs out with the dogs. He thinks he's a dog.
One of the dogs. If they get treats for using the bathroom, he gets treats too. He thinks he's a dog.
He does.
Anyway.
Yes, the dogs get their lunch meat and pills, and the cat comes for the lunch meat
and meds, but he just gets treats and lunch meat.
Anyway, let's wrap this up.
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.